takes object level security to another stage entirely. And we do masking. We mask database before refreshing the environment to prevent developers from viewing the databases. This time I'm going to be using one of my database named Shola, and on that database we have this column. We have data ID, first name, last name, social security number, telephone, email, gender, and age. In order to mask, you have to okay, so the points at this point, user can view all databases just like what you see over here. As an administrator right now, I can view it, but I want to bring up a different user. So we created a user earlier on in this class, and I called the user. I will be using SQL Server Authentication this time. And the user, remember, creating a strong password for the user to be able to change it at login, first login. This is so the user can be responsible for whatever they do on the environment. So this user right now can see all of this database, but won't be able to do anything on them, really. Won't be able to access them because the user has not been mapped to any of the database, or neither has it been granted a role or permission. So for us to grant this user access to this particular database that we're using for masking, we go to the user, go to properties, and server role I will leave as public, and I'll go to mapping. I'll be using the database Shola, and under this I want to give that user read and write permission, and that's it. So when I go back to this user, let me refresh this database, and you should be able to view what's on this table. Okay, so we have this table, and we click select up 1000 row. Is able to view it. Let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, so this is the user, and this is the administrator. Okay, so let's begin masking. The first I want to do is I would like to mask the first name. All I need to do is run this script against the database. It is successful. You can see right now the user can see what it is, but after that masking, if the user tries to see what's view again, you see what it does? It cannot view that first name anymore. It's been masked. This is what that does. Let's mask the email address. And as an administrator, I can still view everything. But for this user, right now, after this email address has been masked, this is going to be the result. You see it? And there are different ways to go about this. So let's see, let's mask the telephone number over here. And if it goes back to try to view again, you see the telephone number has been masked. And lastly, let's just mask the age. Once again, I want you to know that as an administrator, I can still see everything, but as a user that has limited permission and privileges, every time I mark, you see the age is through this, but you can see that after masking it has changed. So basically this is how masking work, and you can see why it is a security measure in SQL Server. You can as well begin drop that the masking by definitely running this alter statement, and when this user goes back there and run, and it can now see the email address, I can go ahead and unmask everything one after the other, or I can unmask them all together. So this user have just been given another opportunity to view once again. So that is how dynamic masking work in data masking work as, and that is what makes it one of the security measures in SQL Server. So managing users when it comes to SQL Server